The Conway Regional Health System pregame show continues now. It is Black Friday. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And to Levi and Tim, happy Thanksgiving to the both of you and your families. Hope you had a good week so far. And let's finish it off with a win tonight. That would, man, that'd be nice, wouldn't it, guys?
It'd be so nice.
Speak.
I would say it's been a while, but that would be an understatement. It's been a really long while. In fact, it's never happened in our 25 years. So we're hopeful for that tonight. We had to get a win last week, though. And if you look at the bracket, which we'll do in a few minutes, it was the most difficult of the four games. We had our hands full with the Bentonville West squad that we expected to have our hands full with, but they sure took advantage of some opportunities, especially early on. Those two kick returns could have been the death of a team maybe that didn't have some intestinal fortitude, but it seems like our guys did, and we got the win. Your thoughts on the Wolverines game Friday night?
It was a combination of great matchups for us and terrible matchups for us. In some respects, I told Tim after the game was over, and I really felt this way. I never felt like we were going to lose, even after the two kickoff returns, even after the blocked punt. I just never felt like they would be able to stop us running the ball, and that's kind of how it turned out. Yeah. I know Tim didn't feel quite as confident as I did on that respect, but I tell you what, though, I felt a lot better after I went through the film this weekend and logged on my clips, because the truth of it is our defense only gave up 2 touchdowns to them and held them 3 other times in the red zone to a field goal. And so when I saw how that played out, I was like, man, we really, if you could take the special teams out of the equation, which I know you can't, right, but if you take those 3 touchdowns off the board, it's obviously it feels a lot different. And granted, I mean, there's things we got to fix. I mean, we got to clean a lot of that stuff up. I think a lot of that stuff is fixable because it's just blown assignments, essentially, not keeping the other side of the field and being ready for those returns. But I felt much better after going through the film. And like I said, I never felt like we were going to lose. I knew that I think I heard Coach say it this way: Bentonville West is kind of like Pulaski Academy in terms of they do things that you just don't see any other time in the year. So it's very difficult to prepare for. But overall, I felt like our defense did a pretty good job of tamping them down, maybe more than any other team has this year. It didn't look like that when you look at the final score, but if you just look a little more critically at things, I think there's things to feel better about than kind of how it all played out on Friday night.
Yeah, I'll be the negative Nanny here, but I will say that I thought I really did think that overall we had a good game plan offensively. And we knew we were going to run the ball a lot, and we did. We got the guys that needed to get the ball. They got the ball. Trey Harrison, Amari Davis, and Cambrian Blackman, if you had to name 3 guys, even Carter Crow in there, they got the ball and they did damage. And so with that part I liked. I did not like and I have a feeling this will be on Tim's 3 things, but tackling with energy and with tenacity was something I think we lacked a little bit of, and we were doing a lot of chasing. These guys were fast, and they do a lot of misdirections and what have you. I thought we needed to tackle better, and we will definitely need to tackle better against Bentonville this week.
So that leads me to the next question, which is Bentonville this week, Bentonville tonight, team that we played second game of the season. It's the game where Wesley Tapp got hurt. The emergence of Ryder Cook came out of that game. We're a different team than we were then. Are they a different team than they were then? Let's talk about tonight's semifinal matchup, Levi.
No, they're not a different team than they were then. We'll just get that out of the way. Okay, they're still really good. And we'll get into more of that. But I think the important thing is, like you said, we're not the same team that we were back in week 1. And I remember after that week 1 game talking to some of the coaches and hearing the same things of like, listen, that game didn't matter the last 2 years for Bentonville. We beat them the last 2 years in week 1. And where did they end up? In the state championship game, both of those years. So what happens in week 1, not near as important as what happens in the semifinals. And offensively, we're a completely different team than we were back then. Defensively, these guys have had time to grow, and not just the players, the coaches as well, gel together. I mean, this was a brand new defense, essentially, when you look at the coaching staff. We had one coach back from the year before, and, Tap goes down in that game. Amari Davis went down in that game too. So we were very limited offensively in the second half. Granted, we were down. I think we were down like 14 or 17 points at halftime. I don't think looking at what happened in week one is a good indicator of what's going to happen tonight. At least I hope it's not. I think we're going to see a much better effort. The thing is, though, Bentonville is, they're just as good or probably better than they were in week one. So it's going to take a monumental effort. They have guys all over the field that can do things. Talking about, we were talking earlier about getting our guys the ball. I mean, they've got 3 receivers all with over 600 yards receiving or real close to that. So they're much more spread out in terms of production and who's doing it. They've got a lot of guys doing it. Whereas with us, we got like 1 or 2 guys that are really doing most of the production. It's going to be a monumental task for our defense. Our offense, we got to be able to run the ball. If we can run the ball effectively against them, we're going to keep it a close game. We're going to be able to stay in it. I mean, that's been the case for anyone that we've played this year that's better than us, is can we run the ball? If we can't, it's going to turn into a long night.
I think across the board, they are bigger and stronger than we are, although we were pretty close. I would say that it's not a chasm between the two. But they are very talented and big up front. To me, what this game comes down to is more of the mental side of the deal. If you believe that you can get this thing done, I mean, yeah, that sounds simple, but it's not. They have to overcome some things. They're going to have adversity in this ball game. And it's not, well, okay, we'll fix that for next week. There is no next week if you don't fix it. So you have to bring a different approach. And I think that's from the coach's perspective. That's definitely from the player's perspective, even the fans. We have to approach this game differently. We have to do something different. We've been here now 6 times in a row. I'm tired of not making that step. And if I'm tired of it, I can only imagine what the coaching staff and the players and the parents and all those folks are dealing with. We have to have a different mentality. We have to overcome some things. I'm ready to take the next step forward. I hope they are too.
We were talking about the bracket earlier. Let's take a look at that, because even as we were just talking about we've been there 6 straight years, ready to take the next step. Well, there's a team on the other side of the bracket that has not been to this point since 2006. What a state championship game that would be if the number 2 seeds can go on the road and both get wins. That, of course, would be us and Rogers. So let's take a glance at this bracket. On the right side of the bracket, it's Bryant and Fayetteville last week. Bryant getting the easy victory, 42-0. Rogers getting the easy victory, 35-0. So some blowouts over there. I know you guys have seen, obviously, Bryant, as we all have. What can you tell us about this Rogers team? Because I think it's pretty safe to say the 4 teams that are left are the 4 best teams, and that's not something that's been said about Rogers lately.
Yeah, it's funny. There was a lot of talk after the first round about, I think the West has it this year. I think the West is better than the Central. And maybe 1 through 6, maybe you could say collectively the West is maybe a little better. But honestly, there were 4 teams that have a chance to win a state championship going into the playoffs, and those 4 teams are the same teams that are still in it. I mean, I wholeheartedly believe that. I mean, Rogers, man, if they could just get a little bit of defensive help in a game, they're going to be so dangerous, because they have probably the best offensive player in the state, maybe the best too, because that receiver they have as well is just insane. And they've been such a hard combo for everybody that's played them. I'm going to we'll obviously be keeping an eye on that Bryant Rogers game as the night goes on. I think ultimately defense is going to win out this time of year, and I don't know that anybody has a better defense than Bryant does. So I really want big things for Rogers. I know, I've gotten friendly with the guy that does their play-by-play over there, and he happens to be the father of the quarterback. So I really want some good things to happen for Rogers. I hope it plays out that way. I would love to see the two seeds in the championship game. That would be such a fun thing to happen.
These four teams have separated themselves out, to Levi's point. I mean, and Rogers is kind of the unknown one of the bunch, or the up and coming one of the bunch. But to his point, Lindsey and Regan are unbelievable, and they've been doing the same things they were doing last year, and nobody's figured it out yet. So Bryant is going to be a tough out. They're going to have their hands full there. Just like I think we're going to be a tough out for Bentonville. I mean, it could be the ones playing in the final game. Okay, whatever. I will hate that. But I do think that both the twos have a chance.
All right. One note on our half of the bracket. Of course, there's our win over Bentonville West we've already talked about. But that Bentonville-Springdale game was interesting. That was a 6-point game at halftime. And just a few weeks ago, Bentonville had beat that Springdale squad 63-7. Who does that say more about? Did Springdale get better, or was Bentonville looking ahead? What do you think?
I would say it says more about. Well, I'm leaning towards Bentonville, but Springdale was playing their best football at the end of the year. What they did at Cabot, I just ultimately they don't have enough athletes to sustain a full game against a program like Bentonville. I don't know. We're going to see if we do either tonight. I mean, it's just the truth of it. I think it says just a little bit more about Bentonville, maybe just not being mentally ready for that opening game for them, that opening playoff game for them, kind of looking ahead to tonight. And, if they start slow tonight, and if we can start fast, spoilers, that may be one of Tim's three things. If they come out like they did against Springdale and we can get off to a good start, might put them behind the 8-ball a little bit.
Yeah, these guys, once you saw the second half, I watched the first half, I watched the whole game, and the second half, it just looked like completely different athletes on the field. I mean, Bentonville they pushed Springdale around in the second half, which is what you thought was going to happen in the first half. So to Levi's point, if you can jump on them early, which I'm guessing that Gordy he's going to have that kind of lined out there. They're gonna get Conway's best shot early. Can we take advantage of it? That's going to be the thing.